Hello, welcome back to Mancinima. I hope you're all doing well. It's been a bit cold outside lately, isn't it, with the frost and everything? Have any of you managed to get out to the cinema recently? Been to see Avatar or Megan or any of the others? No? Well, don't worry, we did. We went to see a brand new film for you and we'll be reviewing that in a moment. However, before we get to that, can I please ask you to do the usual? If you've seen these videos before, and if you haven't, why not? Please go and like this video. You can always unlike it afterwards if you don't like the video, but if you can hit the like button for me now, that will really help me. It basically lets other people know that we're here, lets YouTube know that we're here, boosts the algorithm. Same thing with subscribing to the channel. If you can subscribe to the channel, that will really help us out a great deal. And also if you can hit the notification bell will let you know when I've done another one of these videos. Okay then, let's have a look and see what we've got ahead. So our film this week is Babylon, written and directed by David Chazelle. Now, David Chazelle directed La La Land, which I have seen and I really enjoyed, and he also directed First Man and Whiplash, which I have yet to see, but I'll have a look at some point in the future. Babylon takes a look at Hollywood in the 1920s, in the period leading up to the talking pictures. And it's also taking a look at the depravity and the decadence that is going on during Hollywood during this period. So in this film we're following several characters. We're looking at Brad Pitt's Jack Conrad. He's kind of Hollywood's leading man, the #1 leading man in Hollywood. And we're watching him as he finds that his career is on the decline. We're also looking at Margot Robbie's Nellie Leroy, and she's kind of an ambitious young actress trying to break into Hollywood and trying to make her name, kind of like a Marilyn Monroe type. You've also got Diego Calva's Manny. Now Manny just wants to work in movies in any capacity. And so he finds his way into the movies, works his way up, becomes a successful producer, and he becomes a studio head, I believe, at the end of the movie. And we're also looking at Jovan Adepo, and he is playing Sydney, and Sydney is a trumpeter, and he just wants to make his mark and follow his path in music. So we're looking at those characters, and we're looking at their path from the beginnings when they arrive in Hollywood up until the end of the movie, once we get past the talking pictures period. There are also several cameos you should look out for in Babylon. You've got Tobey Maguire playing James McKay, he's kind of a sleazy gangster. And you should also look out for Olivia Wilde, Samara Weaving, and do any of you remember a 1985 Harrison Ford film called Witness? Do you remember the little boy, Lucas Haas? Well, he's in this film as well, so take a look out for Lucas Haas while you're watching Babylon. So after an initial quiet start where you see Manny delivering an elephant to a Hollywood party, we're taken within that Hollywood party, and you are suddenly bombarded with visuals and noise. It's a very noisy sequence. There's a band playing, there's people doing drugs, having sex, dancing, and the camera weaves in and out of this, going from one place to another, just taking in this whole decadence and this whole depravity and this whole noise. I thought, personally for me, I felt this sequence went on a little bit too long. I was kind of thinking, alright, I get it, I get the party, I get that this is what it was supposed to be like with all the depravity and everything. But I wanted the story to settle down, I wanted to sit down and kind of get on with the story, and I felt personally that the sequence went on just a little bit too long. It was very noisy and it got a bit boring. The film is a long movie anyway, and I thought maybe they could have trimmed this down a little bit, so once people get it, once the audience go, alright, I've got that, I understand it, let's move on with the story, let's find the introduction to the characters, let's find out where they are, who they are, where they're going, that kind of thing. But this sequence went on way too long for my liking. Of course, once that party sequence is over with, the film does settle down a little bit, and we do begin to learn who Margot Robbie's character is and who Brad Pitt's character are. And there's a sequence where Margot Robbie goes to this stage, and I think it's set out in the middle of a desert or something like that. I remember there being some kind of a big flat land out there anyway. And she goes out there and she does this performance, and it's then she begins to get noticed. And what was lovely about this sequence is, you know, me as a big fan of old school Hollywood and learning how old Hollywood films were made, you actually see how they made the silent movies back in that day. So you had like one little stage over here that Margot's on, whereas on another stage over here they've got a bar, and another stage over there they've got a living room, another stage over there they've got a snow sequence going on. So you've got a couple of guys stood inside this building and you've got all this fake snow being thrown in. And of course, like I said, I think from memory they were filming it in a desert. The film was so chaotic it took me a while to kind of grasp what was going on, but yeah, I think they're filming it in the middle of a desert, so to have this snow sequence in is really bizarre. But yeah, very lovely to see all of this stuff going on, all these little miniature stages. And of course the directors could yell action to them and the actors could speak back to them, and it didn't matter because sound wasn't being picked up. Every bit of the sound and the dialogue was on those little painted placards that they used to put up within those silent movies. So yeah, to see that sequence represented, I loved it. I really did love that moment. And I wish there had been more moments like that. But it does kind of get lost within the noise and the chaos and the depravity of the other bit of the story. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but that sequence alone I really did enjoy. As the movie moves on from the 1920s, leading up towards the end of the 1920s, of course 1927 saw the release of Al Jolson, the jazz singer. It looks at the transition between silent movies into sound movies and into talkie pictures. Of course, a lot of the actors and actresses that were in the silent movies found that they ironically didn't have a voice when it came to talking pictures, because their voices didn't match their faces, and it put a lot of the audiences off. And that's detailed very much within the movie Singing in the Rain. And Singing in the Rain, while I was watching the movie, like I say, it reminded me of Singing in the Rain. Singing in the Rain actually does feature within Babylon as a key sequence, so I was kind of pleased to see that kind of come full circle. As I was watching, I was thinking, you know what, this reminds me of Singing in the Rain, and all of a sudden Singing in the Rain is featured within Babylon, so I thought, okay, great, that's where they were heading all along. I'm on track with this, I understand. And it's a very interesting period within Hollywood. As I say, a lot of the silent movie actors didn't have a voice, ironically, when it came to the talking pictures, and they couldn't be employed anymore. And that was a really fascinating moment for them to take a look at within this film. Of course, the transition from silent movies into sound movies came with other problems. Now, back in the late 1920s, when they first transitioned, you had the cameraman within a box on the stage, because the cameras made so much noise back in those days. They couldn't have them out on the stage with the actors and the boom mic and all that business, because it would pick up the sound of the camera cranking away. So they had to contain the cameraman and put him in a box on his own. So there's a sequence, a lovely sequence within Babylon, where Margot Robbie's Nellie character has to come out and perform her lines and then move on to another piece of dialogue. Now, she's already having difficulties because she's hot on the stage. The stage is hot because of all the lighting and stuff like that. They've rigged it up in a particular way where she has to hit her mark, come out, say her dialogue and move on. Now, the first time that she comes out, her voice is too loud, so they ask her to tone it down a little bit, and then she's too quiet. It's a bit like the Three Bears kind of situation. You're too noisy, you're too quiet, and you're going to find that happy medium. And then she comes out and decides to do a little flourish where she moves a little bit better, and then she misses her mark, so they say, no, you can't do that because our camera's all set up in this particular period. Could you go back and do that again? So she has to hit her mark, and then something else goes wrong, somebody sneezes. And all the while, the poor cameraman is within his box, and he's coming out, he's knocking on the door and saying, can I come out of here? I'm sweltering, I can't stand the heat in this box. The people in the studio are getting frustrated the longer the take goes on, and the director is absolutely losing his mind. Every time the take goes on and on and on, you can see the sanity fade away in this director, and I thought that was a fascinating sequence. It was really good though, because it really explains to the audience the difficulties of making a movie back in the 1920s. So yes, this movie does have some really, really good sequences. For me, it's a shame because it gets lost within all of the visuals. I think if they'd have kind of toned it down a little bit and just kind of focused on the story, this would have been a really, really fascinating movie. It would have been probably one of my favourite movies about the history of Hollywood. However, if somebody said to me, could you describe Babylon to me in one word, I would say chaotic, because it is chaotic. The movie, the plot, everything gets lost within the visuals. It's kind of, let's focus on all the flow and all the what we can bombard you with image-wise, but then the story pops up every now and again. Oh, okay, I'm interested again now. No, let's have some more visuals, and it kind of does that. So yeah, I mean, Babylon is a very long film. I think it was about 3 hours and 9 minutes or something like that, kind of up to Avatar lengths, really. And you've got to have a lot of patience if you're going to sit there and watch this movie. It is worthwhile, but I don't know that I would go and watch it again in the cinema. I think I would probably catch it when it's on Sky or something like that. I think I'd enjoy it more when it's on Sky, you know, when you can pause these moments, walk out. If you get fed up with the visuals, you can fast forward through them. So yeah, I mean, great film, just a shame that it couldn't have been all that it should have been, really. If they'd just toned it down a little bit, maybe trim some of the sequences as well. There's a couple of sequences that go on a little bit and you think, oh, come on, you do begin kind of watching, if you like, and seeing what the time is and how much longer has this film got to go. So yeah, I think if they'd have toned it down a little bit, toned the visuals down a little bit, cut down on the noise. It's a very noisy film in places as well. you maybe would have felt a little bit more for the characters. That said, fantastic performances by everybody, really did enjoy them. Some of the best work I've ever seen from Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. Yeah, I mean, I can recommend Babylon if you love your Hollywood history. However, I would probably say, I would probably advise don't go and see it in the cinema. You know, I say go and see films in the cinema all the time. You should support your local cinema. But for a film like this, I think you'd probably be better off watching it at home when it comes out. Yeah, sorry to say, it's a home watch for me. If I was to watch it again, I wouldn't go back and watch it in the cinema. It's too long, it's too noisy, it's too unfocused, it's a little bit cluttered. So yeah, just wait until it comes out on DVD or something like that, and then you can watch it at your own leisure. You can pause it, walk out, come back in and pick it up again. It's a bit of a chore to get through in the cinema. So there you have it, that's our review of Babylon. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, could you please go along and find the little thumbs up button like that, looks like this, and if you can hit that, that'd be fantastic, because that will spread the word amongst YouTube. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying my videos, and it might tell other people to come and have a look at my videos. It just basically creates awareness of this channel. So if you can do that for me, that'd be fantastic. Also, if you can subscribe to the channel, there's loads of other videos on there. You know, you've seen the stuff about dinosaurs, collectibles. There's a couple of bits on ghosts on there. There's obviously all these movie reviews and other movie related items on this channel. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully there's something there that you'll like. And if you do go back and watch some of the old videos and you enjoy them, again, please hit the like button, because again, it helps us out. And hit the notification bell, because if you hit the notification bell, then you'll know when I've done a new one of these videos, and you'll be the first people to know and the first people to watch it. Also, if you went to see Babylon at the cinema this week, or if you went to see Megan or any of the other films, please come along on the relevant video and come and have a chat with me. Come and talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Maybe you think I'm being a little bit harsh on Babylon, saying it's a little bit too excessive, a little bit too noisy, a little bit too chaotic. Maybe you enjoyed it. Maybe you don't mind all of that visual stuff. But then maybe, like me, you'd rather have a bit more of a straightforward story without having all the chaos going on. Let me know what you think. I'm always interested to hear your thoughts, and always interested to have a chat with those of you that have been in touch. So again, those that have been in touch, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. So until next time, hopefully we'll have another film review for you fairly soon, and I mean probably within the next week or so. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope you have a lovely week. Well, I know we're on Monday, right at the beginning of the week at the moment. And again, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you all soon.